Hidden treasure alert. These quarters are worth a fortune. Stop. Before you spend another quarter, you need to hear this. Because right now, hidden wealth could be sitting in your pocket and you wouldn't even know it. These ordinary-looking Washington quarters, some of them are a silent fortune collectors are fighting over in real auctions. Nobody talks about these. Do not spend these coins. Check your pocket now. Each one we reveal gets rarer, more dangerous to ignore, and what's coming next could change everything. You've probably held this coin before, maybe even today, and didn't think twice. That's exactly how people lose life-changing money. The 1968 Washington quarter, without a mint mark, doesn't scream value. It whispers it. Quietly, dangerously. And that's why it slips through hands every single day. This is not fiction. This is one of those coins people spend without realizing they just let go of something collectors would chase for years. Now here's where it gets unsettling. In 1968, the United States was going through serious economic pressure, rising inflation, post-war adjustments, and massive changes in coin production. The U.S. Mint had just shifted away from silver coins a few years earlier, and the system was under stress. That pressure created inconsistencies, mistakes, and coins that were never supposed to exist in certain forms. And right in that chaos, this no-mint mark quarter quietly entered circulation. Most people don't even notice mint marks, but collectors, they obsess over them. In 1968 quarters were primarily minted in Denver and San Francisco, and they were supposed to carry a mint mark. So when a coin shows up without one, clean, plain, almost empty where a letter should be, that's when things get serious. That missing detail? It changes everything. It turns an ordinary coin into a question, and collectors pay huge money for answers. Look closely at the design. On the front, you see George Washington's profile, calm, familiar, almost too common to question. The word liberty arches above, while In God We Trust sits to the left. The date, 1968, looks ordinary, but on this coin, it carries weight. Flip it over, and the eagle spreads its wings, gripping arrows and olive branches. Strength and peace. But what most people miss is the surface. Slight darkness, natural toning. That untouched antique look that tells collectors this coin has lived a real life. This quarter isn't made of silver. That's what tricks people. It's a copper-nickel-clad coin, layered with precision. A pure copper core sandwiched between nickel alloys. It weighs about 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness of around 1.75 millimeters. The edges are reeded, tiny ridges you can feel if you run your fingers across them. But here's the thing, millions were made, yet very few survived in beautiful, untouched condition like this. And condition. This is where people make a huge mistake. They find an old coin, think it looks dirty, and clean it. That single action can destroy thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Original toning matters. That slightly dark, uneven surface, that's history. That's proof. Once it's gone forever. Never clean this coin. Ever. Collectors don't just want this coin, they compete for it. Quietly. Aggressively. When one appears in very fine condition, with that clean, beautiful look, and no mint mark, the room changes. Bidding gets tense. People don't talk much, they just act. Because they know opportunities like this don't come often. And when they do, you either take it or regret it later. Right now, this exact coin has reached market values around $258. Let that sink in. A quarter that people are still spending, worth more than most people's yearly income. That's not just money, that's hidden treasure. That's silent fortune. And the scariest part? Someone out there spent one yesterday without even looking. If you ever come across a 1968 quarter, stop immediately. Check for that missing mint mark. Look at the surface. Does it have original toning? Does it feel untouched? Don't rush. Don't assume. And most importantly, do not spend this coin. Get it professionally graded because that step alone can unlock its true value. Most people miss this, and that's why they stay broke, while others quietly collect fortunes. And here's the part you're not ready for. The next coin is even rarer, even more shocking, and it's hiding in plain sight in a way that almost feels impossible. Stay with me, because what comes next makes this one look ordinary. You see that dark spot on the back of a coin, and your brain instantly says, damage. That's the exact moment people throw away a fortune. The 1969 Washington quarter, with no mint mark and a black spot on the reverse, is one of the most misunderstood treasures in circulation. It doesn't look perfect, and that's why it's so dangerous. Because while others ignore it, collectors are quietly hunting it. 1969 wasn't just another year. It was a time of tension in the United States. Economic uncertainty, rising costs, and a country under pressure forced the mint to push production harder than ever. Machines ran longer, dies wore down faster, and quality control wasn't always perfect. In that chaos, unusual coins slipped through, coins that weren't supposed to look the way they do. And this quarter, it's one of those survivors. Now here's the twist that most people completely miss. By 1969 mint marks were expected. Coins from Denver and San Francisco carried identifiers. But when a Washington quarter appears without a mint mark, clean blank where a letter should be, it raises serious questions. Was it struck differently? Was it a result of minting stress or a transitional anomaly? That mystery alone is enough to pull collectors in. Look at the front of the coin. George Washington's face is still there, steady and familiar. But on a high-grade example, you'll notice something different. The sharpness in the hair, the clarity in the lettering of Liberty, and the depth of the date. It feels alive. Flip it over, and that's where most people panic. The eagle is bold, wings stretched wide. But then there's that black spot. Dark, uneven, almost like damage. But it's not. That black spot can be natural toning or a result of the minting environment. Heat, metal composition, storage conditions. To an untrained eye, it looks like a flaw. To a collector, it's a signature, a mark of originality, proof the coin hasn't been tampered with. This detail changes everything, because once someone tries to fix it, the value disappears instantly. Never clean this coin. That spot could be the reason it's worth serious money. Physically, this coin feels like any other quarter, but don't be fooled. It weighs about 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness close to 1.75 millimeters. The copper core is layered between nickel, giving it that familiar silver appearance. The reeded edges still catch your skin when you run your finger across them. Everything about it feels normal, except the part that makes it extraordinary. And here's the reality. Most of these coins didn't survive in very fine condition. They were used, abused, dropped, scratched, and spent over decades. Finding one today with a beautiful surface, original toning, and that distinct black spot intact, that's rare. Extremely rare. Because time destroys coins like this. But a few manage to slip through untouched. Collectors don't just want perfection, they want authenticity. They want a coin that tells a story. And this one does. It tells the story of a stressed mint, a changing economy, and a production line that let something unusual pass through. That's why when one shows up in the market, things get quiet, then intense. Bidders don't hesitate. They know what they're looking at. Right now, this coin has reached values around $253. Let that hit you. A quarter with a black spot that most people would reject is actually hidden wealth. A silent fortune sitting in plain sight. And the worst part? People are still spending these. Right now. Without checking. If you ever find a 1,969 quarter, don't rush. Stop. Look closely. Check for the missing mint mark. Flip it over, study the reverse. That dark spot? Don't panic. Don't touch it. Don't clean it. That's where people lose everything. Keep it exactly as it is and get it professionally graded. That one decision could turn pocket change into life-changing money. Most people miss this moment. They see imperfect and move on. But the ones who pay attention, the ones who wait, they're the ones who win. Patience creates wealth in this world, and coins like this prove it every single day. And just when you think this is unbelievable, the next coin is on another level entirely. No spot. No obvious clue. Just a tiny detail so small, almost nobody sees it. But once you do, you'll never look at a quarter the same way again. Most people think newer coins can't be valuable. And that's exactly why they lose money. The 1,986 Washington quarter with a D mint mark looks too normal, too modern, too forgettable. That illusion is dangerous. Because while people ignore it, this coin is quietly turning into a hidden fortune, slipping through pockets, cash registers, and hands every single day without anyone realizing what they just spent. Now pause for a second and think about 1986. America was deep into economic rebuilding, post-recession recovery, shifting financial systems, and rising consumer demand. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce massive quantities of coins for a growing economy. Machines ran fast. Dies wore down. Quality checks weren't always perfect. And in that environment, something subtle but powerful happened to certain quarters struck in Denver. That small D mint mark under the date, most people never even look at it. But collectors, that's the first thing they hunt. Because not all D mint mark coins are equal. Some were struck under stress, with slight inconsistencies, die fatigue, or pressure variations that created coins with unique surfaces, textures, and strike quality. This is where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and most people miss it completely. Look at the obverse. George Washington's face appears calm, almost identical to every other quarter you've seen. Liberty above, in God we trust, to the left, and the date 1986 below. But on a rare example like this, the details hit differently. The hairlines are sharper. The fields around the face are smoother, yet carry a subtle, untouched texture. It feels like a coin that survived, not just circulated. Flip it over, and the eagle dominates the reverse. Wings stretched wide, arrows clutched in one claw, olive branches in the other. Strength and peace, frozen in metal. But what collectors notice isn't just the design, it's how the design was struck. The depth of the feathers, the clarity of the lettering, the balance of the surface. Tiny differences that most people would never see, but collectors obsess over. This coin is made from copper-nickel clad, the same layered composition introduced after silver was removed from circulation. A pure copper core sits between nickel alloy layers, giving it that familiar silver look. It weighs around 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness close to 1.75 millimeters. The reeded edge still feels sharp when you roll it between your fingers. Everything about it feels standard. And that's the trap, because survival is the real rarity here. Coins from 1986 were used heavily, spent, dropped, scratched, and worn down through decades of circulation. Finding one today in very good condition with a clean, balanced appearance is already uncommon. But finding one with the right strike quality, the right surface texture, and that Denver mint mark tied to a rare production batch, that's where things change completely. And here's where people make the biggest mistake. They underestimate it. They see a 1986 coin and assume it's too new to matter. They don't check the details. They don't study the mint mark. They don't notice the subtle signs of a rare strike. And just like that, they spend it. Gone. A silent fortune disappears into circulation again. Collectors don't make that mistake. When a coin like this appears, especially in very good condition with strong visual appeal, the atmosphere shifts. Auctions don't start loud, they start quiet. Then suddenly bids jump. Fast, focused, intentional, because collectors know what they're looking at. They're not buying a coin. They're securing a piece of hidden wealth that most people overlooked. Right now, this 1986D Washington quarter has reached values around $239. Let that sink in. A coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up is worth serious money. Life-changing money. This is the kind of opportunity that hides in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to recognize it. If you ever come across a 1986 quarter, stop immediately. Don't assume it's common. Check the mint mark, look for that small D, study the surface. Look at the details in Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, the overall balance of the coin. And whatever you do, do not clean it. That natural surface, even if it looks slightly dull or aged, is exactly what collectors want. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Original condition is everything. Even a small attempt to polish or improve the coin can erase thousands of dollars. Leave it exactly as it is. Protect it. And if you think it might be special, get it professionally graded. That step alone can reveal whether you're holding something ordinary or a hidden treasure worth a fortune. Most people rush. They spend without thinking. But the ones who slow down, who check, who pay attention to the smallest details, they're the ones who win. Because coins like this don't announce themselves. They wait to be discovered. And just when you think a modern coin like this is shocking, the next one is even more unbelievable. Older, stranger, and hiding a detail so rare, it almost shouldn't exist. Stay with me, because what's coming next could make everything you've seen so far feel small. That dirty quarter you almost threw away, the one with yellow, brown, even black layers that look like damage, that's exactly how people lose a fortune without realizing it. The 1988 Washington quarter with a P mint mark is one of the most deceptive coins in circulation because it looks ugly. And that illusion, it's costing people life-changing money every single day. 1988 was a turning point in U.S. coin production. The economy was stabilizing. Demand for coins was rising, and the Philadelphia Mint was pushing out massive numbers to keep up. But high-speed production comes with consequences. Heat, pressure, and metal flow created unusual surface reactions, especially on clad coins. Layers of toning began forming in ways that didn't look clean or perfect. And most people, they rejected those coins instantly. But collectors don't see dirty, they see untouched history. They see original surfaces that haven't been altered, cleaned, or stripped of their identity. That yellow, brown, and black layering on the coin isn't damage, it's natural toning, built over time through oxidation and environmental exposure. And here's the part most people never understand. Once you remove it, the value disappears forever. Look at the obverse. George Washington's profile is still there, but on a rare example like this, it feels different. The contrast between the darker tones and the lighter high points creates depth, almost like the coin is telling you its story. Liberty across the top. In God we trust, beside the portrait, and the date 1988 below. And right there, the small P mint mark. Easy to miss, but everything depends on it. Flip the coin over, and the eagle stands strong, wings stretched wide, clutching arrows and olive branches. But this is where the layering becomes even more intense. The reverse often carries deeper shades, black, brown, even hints of gold, depending on how the coin aged. Most people panic when they see this. They think it's corrosion. They think it's ruined. And that's when they make the biggest mistake of all. They clean it. Never clean this coin. Not with water, not with cloth, not with anything. That layered toning is exactly what collectors are looking for. It proves the coin hasn't been tampered with. It shows authenticity. It tells the market this coin is real, original, and untouched. The moment you try to fix it, you erase the very thing that makes it valuable. Physically, it's still the same structure as other modern quarters. Copper-nickel-clad composition, with a copper core sealed between nickel alloy layers. It weighs about 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness around 1.75 millimeters. The reeded edges still feel sharp when you run your fingers across them. Everything about it says normal, except the surface that everyone misunderstands. And here's why this coin is so rare today. Most of them didn't survive like this. People cleaned them, polished them, or spent them without thinking twice. Coins with heavy natural toning were seen as undesirable for decades. So they were destroyed, intentionally or accidentally. Finding one today in that original layered condition is incredibly difficult. And when one appears, collectors notice immediately. There's something almost emotional about this coin for serious collectors. It represents survival. It represents patience. It represents a time when coins weren't appreciated for what they truly were. And now, the few that remain untouched are treated like hidden treasure. Not loud, not flashy, but powerful. When these coins hit auctions, the behavior is intense but controlled. No shouting, no chaos, just focused bidding. People who understand what they're seeing don't hesitate, because they know the supply is shrinking every year and demand is only growing stronger. These coins aren't being made anymore, and the ones that exist are disappearing into private collections. Right now, this 1988p Washington quarter with natural yellow, brown, and black toning has reached values around $228. That's not just money, that's silent fortune. Hidden wealth that most people overlook because they think it's dirty. And the scariest part? People are still spending these. Every day. If you ever find a 1988 quarter, stop immediately. Check for the P mint mark. Look at the surface closely. Don't judge it too fast. That layered toning might be the most important detail on the coin. Do not clean it. Do not try to improve it. Keep it exactly as it is and get it professionally graded. That one decision could turn something you almost threw away into a life-changing opportunity. Most people react too quickly. They see something unusual and try to fix it. But in this world, patience is everything. The ones who wait, who observe, who respect the coin as it is, they're the ones who unlock its true value. And just when you think an ugly coin like this is unbelievable, the next one is even more dangerous to ignore. No strange colors, no obvious clues. Just a tiny detail so subtle, almost invisible. But once you see it, you'll realize you might have been spending a fortune your entire life. You've seen this coin 1,000 times, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. The 1993 Washington quarter with a P mint mark and that dull brown tone, Most people don't even slow down to look at it. They call it worn, dirty, worthless, and in that single moment of ignorance, they lose a hidden fortune without even realizing it. 1993 was a year of quiet transition in the United States. The economy was shifting, technology was rising, and the mint was pushing high volumes of coins into circulation to keep up with demand. Philadelphia was working fast, sometimes too fast. Under that pressure, coins developed subtle surface variations, especially in how the metal reacted over time. And that's where this brown-toned quarter begins to separate itself from everything else. At first glance, it looks ordinary. George Washington's portrait on the obverse feels familiar. Liberty above, In God We Trust beside it, and the date 1993 below. But on a very fine example like this, there's something different. The details are still strong. The edges of the design haven't completely faded. And then there's the tone, that deep, natural brown that spreads across the surface like a quiet signal most people ignore. Flip it over, and the eagle stands firm, wings stretched, holding arrows and olive branches. Strength and control. But again, it's the surface that matters. That brown tone, sometimes uneven, sometimes layered, tells a story of time, storage, and untouched originality. This is not damage. This is not dirt. This is natural toning, and collectors treat it like gold. Here's where things get serious. That small P mint mark near the date, barely noticeable, is everything. Philadelphia struck millions of coins, but not all of them aged the same way. Certain batches developed this distinctive brown toning due to environmental exposure and metal composition behavior. And over time, most of these coins were either cleaned or lost forever in circulation. Physically, the coin feels like any other quarter, but don't let that fool you. It weighs approximately 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness close to 1.75 millimeters. The copper core sits between nickel layers, creating that familiar silver look underneath the toning. The reeded edges are still there, sharp and consistent. It feels normal in your hand, but it could be anything but normal in value. And this is where people make the biggest mistake. They try to fix it. They see the brown tone and think it needs cleaning. That one decision destroys everything. The moment you remove that natural surface, you erase the coin's identity. You strip away the proof that it survived untouched. Never clean this coin. Not ever. That brown tone is the reason collectors care. Very fine condition matters here more than people realize. The coin still holds its structure. The design is visible and strong. It hasn't been worn down into nothing. That balance between age and preservation is incredibly rare, because most coins from 1993 were heavily circulated, scratched, damaged, or altered over time. Finding one like this, original, toned, and stable, is not common. Collectors are drawn to coins like this for a reason. It's not about shine. It's not about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about holding something that hasn't been touched, hasn't been changed, hasn't been ruined by human interference. That emotional connection drives demand higher every year. And the supply? It keeps shrinking. When one of these coins appears in the market, especially with strong brown toning and very fine condition, the reaction is immediate but controlled. Experienced collectors don't hesitate. They move fast, quietly, and with purpose, because they know opportunities like this don't come often. And when they do, you either act or you miss it forever. Right now, this 1993 Washington quarter has reached values around $222. Let that sink in. A coin that people still toss into vending machines, is actually a silent fortune. Hidden wealth. A life-changing opportunity sitting in plain sight. And the worst part? Someone out there spent one this week without even checking. If you ever come across a 1,993 quarter, stop. Don't rush. Look for the P mint mark. Study the surface carefully. That brown tone might be the most important thing about it. Do not clean it. Do not try to improve it. Keep it exactly as it is. And if you believe it has potential, get it professionally graded. That single step could reveal whether you're holding pocket change or a serious amount of money. Most people never look twice. They assume, they rush, they spend. But the ones who slow down, who observe, who respect the details, they're the ones who discover hidden treasure. This is not fiction. This is happening every single day. And now, here's the part that should stay with you. There are still coins out there, right now, worth even more than everything you've seen in this video combined. Rarer, stranger, almost impossible to believe. And they're still being spent like nothing. The question is, will you recognize the next one before it's gone?